Africa's mining economies have been asked to shift the focus from policy intentions to implementation that will help attract investment capital and unlock more potentials for the sector. That was according to Duncan Warmblad, the CEO at Anglo. Warmblad was speaking at the ongoing Investing in Africa Mining Indaba Summit in Cape Town.
Now, over the past 4 years or so, I've had the distinct privilege of standing here at this podium as we've come together to try and tackle the various challenges that have defined this industry, but at the same time take advantages of the opportunities that these have presented too. Guided always by a shared commitment to progress, partnership, and to prosperity. Now, since we last gathered here, the world in which we all operate has certainly changed a little bit. New vulnerabilities have been exposed, and global uncertainties have intensified, touching every corner of our industry, and indeed every corner of the world. We therefore meet this year at what I would argue is the most consequential moment for the mining in generations. That is because mining, or rather now, as is more popularly known, the supply of critical minerals, has been thrust firmly into the global spotlight. Many of us in this room would agree that until just a few years ago, this notion of critical minerals didn't enter many conversations at all. And today, it is central to policy development in relation to economic competitiveness, energy and national security in any number of major economies. And this shift is being accelerated by elevated levels of geopolitical tensions. Against this backdrop, we are also contending with a range of other disruptive forces, including unpredictable trade flow distortions, more frequent natural disasters, all of which are reshaping global markets, supply chains, and the broader operating environment across industries. It is therefore clear that we are navigating in a fragmented world, a world in which national and economic self-interest lead many political imperatives today. Equally, it is a world in which the products of mining play an ever more urgent role. As industry leaders, we can no longer expect the status quo to look like the status quo ante. Even as established global trade practices change, one thing has to remain a constant: our shared commitment to human progress, especially here in Africa, where the minerals of this continent must drive its own development just as much as they support the world. It is in that context mining has a unique opportunity to lead, to act as a genuine champion for human progress. But a champion does not necessarily have to claim virtue or act alone. In fact, a champion is one that accepts responsibility and acts decisively in service of a common purpose. And that responsibility is a shared one, carried by the mining industry, by governments, and by civil society, who need to work side by side to enable human progress in a fragile and an unequal world. Let me offer a simple example of what I mean by unequal. A country's GDP growth is strongly linked to the capital stock it has to generate economic activity. In other words, the strength of its infrastructure, rails, roads, ports, electrification, and indeed even its digital connectivity. Developed economies have installed copper capacity today of roughly 250 tons per capita, while the global average sits at around 70 tons per capita. The disparities, therefore, are quite stark, but entirely unsurprising. Mined metals and minerals build and power the world around us. They connect societies through advancing technologies, so they support the transition to lower carbon futures, and they underpin global economic food production. Without the products of mining, there just can be no meaningful pathway to shared prosperity. notwithstanding any number of governments, investors, communities, and societies, they're all looking to our industry to step forward as a force for human progress, to help shape a future characterized by stability and hope. Now, this naturally begs the question, how, in practical terms, can the mining industry help to alleviate these imbalances that we see today? For me, the pathway forward is relatively straightforward. We have to continue to provide these minerals and metals that underpin this human development, and so doing, do it responsibly, with an even stronger long-term commitment to our communities and the sustainability of our planet. Being a champion means that we have to make some deliberate choices. The choice to ensure that the wealth beneath the ground translates to opportunity above it, through jobs, skills, and thriving economies. Across our industry, we are already seeing what this looks like in practice, I believe. Mining investments that partner with host governments and deliver electricity, water, rail services, and port infrastructure, not just for mines, but for entire communities and regions. We see it where mine rehabilitation restores land for agriculture, conservation, and future enterprise. We see it where partnerships unlock new economic pathways long after the mine's life has ended. Working together to develop post-mining successor economies, adopted as a special legacy project at the recent B20 summit right here in South Africa, is an example that reflects this thinking, I believe, ensuring that communities are not left behind when mining activities wind down. For example, in the Northern Cape, our Kumba business is converting mined land to cultivate high-quality and high-value crops such as pecans and pistachios. All of this using water from mine dewatering processes. These are products for which there is a global market and products that will create much-needed jobs and build sustainable livelihoods in that region.